Hi guys, welcome to what is the sixth talk in my vlog on this channel. And if you're new here, I want to encourage you to go out and first look at the other previous talks just to get some context about what we're doing. The focus of these talks is social transformation. Now, in my grubby paw, I have a book written by one of the greatest Christians of all time. This book is called In Darkest England and the Way Out, and it was written by William Booth, and this particular book was published in 1890, a very long time ago. Now, in this book, General Booth discusses the social problems that were facing England at the time. And if you've been to London, London was completely different to what it is today. So William Booth writes about one of his complaints or his observations is the fact that under every bridge in London, in the middle of winter, were literally hundreds of men and women sleeping rough. And he talks about the hundreds of orphans that were begging everywhere he looked. And he speaks about the fact that it seemed almost as every second person was drunk, I think on gin at the time. And he really lays it thick about the problems that England was facing. And he notes the fact that the government was doing very little about the problem. Now, William Booth didn't just stop and complain and leave it at that. He wrote this book, and this book is full of suggestions on what can be done to fix it. And then he takes it a step further, is that he implemented action plans, not just in England, but around the whole world. And so, if you think today, 130 years after this book was written, the Salvation Army was on every continent, and has helped literally millions and millions of marginalized and down and out people. So a real hero, in my opinion. Now, in theory, we should have no social problems in our world today at all. The way I look at it is that in most countries, in pretty much in every country, you will find churches. They might be on every corner, they might be a bit more spread out, but they are everywhere. And it is the church's job, the Bible states very clearly, it is the church's job to feed the hungry, look after the poor, look after the sick, to clothe the naked, etc., etc. So we should be doing this job, and the problem should go away. But sadly, it's not the case. And somewhere along the way, and I'm trying to find out when it was, the church handed that mandate over to government. And so what you see today, and particularly in my country, if you go to England, America, all places, you will find many hospitals, great schools, orphanages, places like rehabs, feeding schemes, etc., that was started at one point by the church and then handed over to governments, and, well, the rest is history. And so today we find that instead of the church looking after the homeless, we get in reports at council from churches complaining that these so-called vagrants are now sleeping on their steps and they need to be moved on by the police or somebody else. And I've said this before, but I've dealt with hundreds of, or maybe a couple of thousand of people, prostitutes, gangsters, homeless people, drug addicts, alcoholics, who said at one point of their life that they were down and out and they went to a church, and instead of finding help, they were chased away. Now, somebody once said the greatest cause of atheism in the world today are Christians who acknowledge Jesus with their lips, but deny him with their lifestyle. Now, I don't want to, well, let's just say today's talk is not about bashing the church. I don't want that to happen. I want to encourage everyone watching this to stop and to think a little bit about what I'm saying. Now, in my second vlog, I spoke about the need to go out into a community and to gather information about the social issues, the problems that there might be. And today, I want to take it a step further. Now, we've got a good understanding, hopefully, about all the issues. We've gone out into the mess, into the chaos, and we've drawn up a list of what the problems are. Now, we need to draw up a list of actions on how to do it. And this sounds a lot easier than it really is. but we'll talk about that next time. But first we need to rethink church. And I always think, I've been to some churches where the budgets that are spent on flowers and muffins and coffee machines and sound equipment and lights and even buildings, those budgets could probably help a few thousand destitute people in the area. And it also bothers me that when I walk around cities or towns, I see churches that are closed 6 days of the week. The doors are firmly shut. They smell really nice. They're all clean, waiting for Sunday morning. And it shouldn't be like that. Churches, particularly in a country like South Africa, where I live, which has got enormous social issues, churches should be open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every single day, because there are always going to be people in need. Now, we also need to rethink how we spend our money, our individual money. And a simple case is if you need to buy a car, there is no need to buy the top of the range model. You could buy middle of the range or even better, entry level. It will do exactly the same job. And the extra money you have left could make a difference in some social issue. So because I spend a lot of my time buying food for our feeding schemes around the province, I've learnt that for about 50 Rand, you can feed a child for 2 meals a day for a month. 50 Rand is, I think, roughly $3 if you're watching in the States, and it's not a lot of money at all. It's just a little bit more than a good cup of cappuccino in South Africa. And I'm convinced that all the money and resources and gifts and um, everything that we need to fix society is with the Christians in the church already. We don't have to go out looking for it. We don't have to go and beg for it. We don't have to go ask for it. It's already all there. So, to end, let us pray and ask God for a big vision, like a really big vision, like this guy did. And let us go out and let us make a huge impact in society with our wealth, with our talents, with our time. To end, I want to say that I want to encourage each church just to take responsibility for the 100 meters around it. Maybe a bit bigger if your church is much bigger. If you've got over 100, 200, 300 people, then spread it out a kilometer around. Just take responsibility for that area. And I can assure you that almost instantly you will start seeing results, and society's problems will begin to go away. Thank you for watching.